How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? You are now listening to the Teutonic Tangents, where we talk about everything history, religion, culture, music, video games, and everything in between. This is a podcast where one subject, um, we might not stay to one subject for, you know, even 5 minutes. We jump all over the place here, but we have a good ass time. We're lifelong friends, known each other for years and years
Many,
now,
many
and
years.
many years. And this was Tyler. This was your idea many years ago, and we're finally coming around to it. I think it's a perfect timing for it, in my opinion, because I think we've all grown pretty wise. We've all gone on these cool journeys, and you know, um, I think yeah, I'm excited for it though. All right, I'll make it sound professional. I'll make it like seems cut that first little bit out, and then we'll actually start here where it's like seems more structured. Um, yeah, so for today's topic, we're actually going to be talking a little bit about origin stories, and I think it'd be best to hear from Tyler first. Your perspective on your take on from your point of view how our origin story was, man. Yeah, so yeah, go ahead, take it away.
I will say before I get into the origin story thing is I have been having memory problems recently. I've been having a lot of medical stuff going on, and there's memory problems as a part of that. But I will do my best. I remember a good chunk of it. I know we met in high school. I don't remember exactly what class it was. I think it was JROTC is whenever we met. I know we was all really gung ho about that. That was basically our entire life.
Yep.
But yeah, we got along
Exactly.
pretty well, I'd say. In school, I'd say you was probably one of my closest friends, one of the ones that I talked to the most.
I would agree. That was I moved every year in high school, and I remember probably the most memorable for me out of all my years. I moved every year, so I went to 4 different high schools each year, and I think my junior year going to Butler County High School in Morgantown, Kentucky. That for me was the most memorable. I think, especially like for me, I came from doing the Army JROTCs, which was perfect because I was trying to, I went into the Army and all that. I was trying to join the Army, and so when I went to that one junior year, I remember like everything was just crazy. It was like a Navy and Marine kind of JROTC, and everything was just weird. I had
Oh
to
yeah,
rememorize all the general order. It's pretty nuts, but I remember meeting you guys. It made me feel a lot better about it because you guys were really serious about it too. And I was like, oh shit, these guys are trying to go the Army branch, And I was like, I could relate. So whenever we did PT, like some of like the things we'd say, it sounds more Army than it does Navy. Like we do things
yeah.
differently. And
I noticed that like especially because for the people that are listening, I joined the army during my junior year of high school. I was in the reserves. I went to basic junior year, then came back to school. And even though it was a Navy JROTC, I basically turned it into an Army ROTC because
mhm.
it's really hard to break that.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I know Chief and Major kept calling me into their office, and they kept saying, "Hey, no, you can't do that. Hey, no, you can't smoke people here. This isn't the military."
Mhm. Yeah, that was like our shield. That was our whole, way of life. And, yeah, for anybody who listens on how that actually turns out whenever you do join it, obviously it ain't all that pretty, but yeah, it's like, who anybody else is going through that, but that was us. Like, it was like our whole life. It was like our whole persona, and, it's
Kind of
pretty
embarrassing
nuts.
thinking back on it. Like I
A little
think
bit,
back on it, and I can't honestly, I can't help but cringe a little bit about how I've acted and everything because just having that and making that my entire personality, I don't know, it just seems weird.
yeah, I would agree. And somehow we didn't get as much shit for it, but I guess it's because it's like people have some kind of admiration or respect for it. Like, oh, okay, they're really serious about it, and they can back it up with like being obsessed and knowing the creeds and the general orders. So like people were like, okay, don't fuck with him. He seems pretty serious about it, and I have respect for that. So yeah, lucky there. But yeah, it was nuts. Uh, but yeah, after that, it was I moved again senior year. We unfortunately couldn't see each other
Yeah, I think there was about like
anymore.
a year and a half where like we didn't see each other. You moved. I don't know where you moved, but was it Florida?
No, no, I was in Kentucky again. I did my senior year of high school also in Kentucky, but I did it
Oh,
out in eastern Kentucky in Somerset, Kentucky. And yeah.
I just remember about a year and a half where we didn't see each other. We weren't really talking. Somehow we remained friends all through that without even talking to each other once.
hmm
So I'm glad that
And
worked out.
me too, man. And I remember you reaching out when you were messaging. And at this time, I think I actually just became like really we all became pagan around Germanic pagans around the same time. Actually, it's crazy to think about because around my junior year, I started to like see my dad, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I remember when junior was over, you messaged and you were like asking about like to asking and telling me stuff you knew, and telling about your path. And then we kept talking. We were loosely in contact, and then I remember, you fast forward like a lot of time later, and it was basically when I got out of the army like 3 years ago, and like 3 Decembers ago. And I remember,
Yeah, it was 3 years ago.
um, yeah, like it went by quick. And then I remember celebrating me being out of the army with you guys,
Burned the cat
and we
card
had a
and everything.
massive fire. Yeah, burn the cat card, all this shit, man. And then fucking drank, uh, drank a lot. We did a bloat actually. We did a You were the goalie at the time, and that was that was a fun time. But no, ever since then though, like die hard, we've been like even if there's like a small little gap of like a month or something of not really talking a lot, it's like we've consistently been in contact and done calls, and we've gone through many phases in the meet in that time of 3 years. It's been like
Oh, yes,
we've
we have. And we've both
done
matured a lot
bloats.
too.
We have absolutely. We've done bloats. We've had nights where we like, get just pure drunk. We do like study time. We would do music, or we're just like playing the shit out of music and comparing riffs, or not even really comparing. Most of the time, it'd be we just keep playing and we just don't talk for like 3 hours, and we're just playing a bunch of riffs, and we just
Oh
chill
yeah.
until somebody falls asleep, and that was fun. And then it brings us to a really cool and enlightening new chapter of everything where um, you actually you kind of found a new path, and we've like our bond's still strong. Like you went down a new path, and you've become Christian actually, and you've been studying it just as hard, and you've been like really taking it seriously, just as like you did. You imply the same study habits and like just ritual stuff, and you take the language seriously that you're trying to learn for it. And overall since then we've seen our attachment, we've matured a lot. Where before I feel like our big connection, because our connection was military first, and then whenever really like we didn't talk about military as much, like religion was like our backup thing, where it was kind of like we would talk a lot about the same religion, like yeah we're both Germanic pagans, and then they'd be like um at first it was like rough because the way I reacted to it, but then really it's just kind of like the biggest thing is never, for anybody listening, the biggest thing is to never lose a brotherhood or friendship or a family, over beliefs or religion, I'd say. Because at the end of the day, it's about, I don't know, it's just about how well you click and how you treat each other, and your actual like culture together. Religion isn't culture, and that's kind of what I feel like really ties us together, man. It's like shared culture, we like not just like in the sense of like our blood and our ethnicities that we get prideful about talking about, but also like we love the same shit, we love same music, we love we have some of the same habits, we like a good drink here and there, and
Sometimes a little too
yeah,
much.
we love sometimes a little too much. We love video games, all kinds of shit. We have the same just beliefs. And I think that's what it's about. So yeah, it's kind of like a bit of the origin, like we've since then we've all wisened up and we've been very mature about it. And we truly understand like what our bond is with each other. And Tyler's had this fucking podcast idea for years now,
Yeah,
and like
for
I
three
said, I
years,
think
whenever you came back and we had that celebration, whenever you got out of the army, I remember bringing it up back then.
Mm.
Then we just kept putting it off. You were obviously living out of state. You still live out of state, and we were just trying to figure out a good way to go about everything.
Mhm.
And now
And
we just decided to do it.
yeah, really good timing for it. Oh, quick disclaimer. For anybody who knows, this is terrible timing because I made a regrettable decision like 2 or 3 days ago of shaving. But
Hey,
I'm doing it to reset. But yeah, it's coming back. But just so you know, we're usually some pretty bearded guys. We keep our beards rocking, and if you
yeah,
don't
I
see me
used
with
to
a
have a
beard, I'll at
pretty
least have
long
a
beard. Like
mustache.
it used to be like all the way down here. It's long.
Yeah, he you could find him on Facebook, but yeah, anybody should look it up. But he looked like the Skyrim Nord default character, like with a glorious long beard. Literally, no shit, he looked like the Nord default character when he had his beard long. That's what he looked like.
I
So,
do plan on growing it back out that long eventually. I will
me
get it done.
too. Yeah, I want to do. You could pull it off really well because you would like really grow into a point. So you could do the beads. You were doing the rune beads and the rune like beard loops for a while there,
Yeah, I was doing
and you've
that.
had
I was braiding it. I was doing all kinds of weird shit.
uh, mine. I have brown hair, but my beard it doesn't grow out as beautiful, but it does grow out pretty prominent. But the beauty thing that I like about it is that it's red. I have like a nice red beard and then brown hair. It's like that interesting combo. So I didn't get the actual growth genetics that you got, but I did get a pretty nice color. You have a little red beard, so it'll it'll come along soon. But yeah, we're usually bearded guys, but we're having a little beard reset right now. Sometimes it helps when you just do a nice little shave and let it reset. Um, uh, but yeah, that's a bit of about us, honestly.
Oh,
He
also, sorry, I was just
no, go
gonna
ahead. What is
say something real quick for the people that are listening or watching on YouTube. This podcast isn't just me and Cody. We do have two other people that were supposed to be joining us today for this episode, but they kind of skipped out on us. I guess I don't really know what's going on with that. But Cody has a good friend. I have a brother that was supposed to be joining us, so maybe they'll show up in a future episode or later in this
yeah,
episode. I don't know. We'll find out.
yeah, they might just pop in and yeah, they pop in and yeah, you might get some other surprise visitors coming in. It's a very I'd say it's a very informal podcast. We try to keep it a little formal, but I think the beauty of it is being informal because
Yeah, I don't want to put
I
on
don't
an
know.
act to please anybody. I mean, we already get on a call every week, anyways, to talk about random bullshit, and we basically do this
Yeah.
regardless. And now we're just recording it,
Hmm.
so I
Hmm.
don't really want to change too much about how we act and everything. Just keep it nice and
Absolutely.
relaxed.
We let everybody just pop in and out. If somebody pops in to talk and they provide a few enlightening things. It's kind of like who are we to be like, oh hey, you can't get in the call right now. We're already in an episode. It's like is we're all about stuff that helps people. We're both veterans and stuff, so it's kind of like we both have been through shit. Everybody, so it's like, who knows what somebody popping into a call, into an episode, who knows what kind of insightful stuff they could randomly add in or like something about their story. Somebody hears a random story, you know what I mean? That maybe like they're not clicking with us when we're talking, but all of a sudden they're like, oh, who's this random guy hopping in? That's like, they help them through their day. So it's like, yeah, we talk about all kinds of cool shit here. And yeah, it's true. Sometimes somebody will just hop in and it's like, oh, there's him. He's hopping in talking to us. But so yeah, I mean that's what we're about here. Um, but um, but yeah, Tyler. So go ahead and elaborate on another piece of a topic that we're going to be talking about today.
Well, that was pretty much it for the origin stories. I had some notes on my phone, a bunch of questions and stuff. We got how did we all meet? We went over that. We met in school, ROTC. What's one moment that cemented our friendship together?
Oh, that's a really cool question. Yeah, man, it's exciting. That's cemented. I
Let's
think
think outside of school.
absolutely because school again. We kind of covered it a little bit, but I think like for the actual definitive answer to it, I would actually say I don't know. I mean. we've been like friends, but I think what really cemented it, where it was like, oh yeah, nothing's gonna stop us. Because as silly as it is, it was. I really think the religion thing. It was like I don't know why, but it was like at first it was like when you first made your decision, when you went on a different path. I think it was kind of like the vibes of me acting a certain way, where it's like, oh no, this is who we are. It's kind of for me that was like if I wouldn't have come back from that and wouldn't have like acted like apologized or come back from it, then it would have been like that would have been proving our whole friendship and our brotherhood was a lie. So I definitely think after the recent like us coming back together a couple months ago, I think that's what was that really cemented it because it was like it doesn't really matter what religion or beliefs. It matters about like our just our bond. It just matters how we see each other and how we click. So I think a couple months ago, actually, a few months ago, whenever we came back together, I think that really cemented it forever for me. So
I definitely
yeah.
agree with that too. That's probably where I was gonna end up taking it if I had answered the question.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah, it was a really good question. Mm.
Let's see here. We went over when we started talking about the podcast. That was a few years ago. Whenever you got out of the army, was there anything that almost stopped us from doing it? Like something that almost stopped the podcast altogether?
I will stop the podcast. I would say, hmm, I would probably say take it back to that whole, because like, we've always talked about it, but I think I think that it was between schedules of people just never, because we were always like, no, everybody's got to be on. It's got to be all of us. Like, 'cause at the time we were a kindred, so it was like everything was about like, and we were obsessing over it just being about religion or culture stuff.
Yeah, now we're a lot
Whenever
more
all of us,
open with it.
yeah, 'cause it's fun whenever you can jump from enlightening stuff or culture or history or different religions. And then you can just immediately just be like, oh, it reminds me of like that. And then you just start talking about like a fucking stupid ass story or something, from high school when you did something dumb. I don't know.
I did a
So
lot of
I
dumb shit
think,
in high school.
oh yeah, likewise. So I think I think that, and then I think I'm gonna take it back to also again a few months ago. I think if like we wouldn't have reunited, like then obviously it never would have happened in the first place. We would have could have been something like really bad. So I think that.
That made me
What
a
about you?
little concerned about our friendship too. Honestly, the whole situation. Like I know we had a little scuffle whenever I went back to being Christian, but we did get past it. I'm really glad we did.
Me too, man.
But
It very important.
I feel like the biggest thing for me that would have stopped us from doing the podcast is our schedule because I've been working a bunch of different jobs. I've been all over the place, working all kinds of weird hours. None of us are really on the same sleep schedule either. My sleep schedule right now is non-existent. I just do this stuff whenever I can, and all of us are. Well, I know me, you, and Bailey are all in school right now too. So I feel like
Yeah,
if anything, that would be the most likely thing to get in the way of it.
absolutely. And now it's like I feel like nothing can stop us. And it's like I think for anybody listening, who if anybody ever listens, and if not, then just for us. But I think like whenever you truly have a connection with somebody and you get excited, like, oh man, there's just so many things, and it's just like it's just fun to talk about life. Like you really sit down, you're like, oh, it's a lot of fun. Like feels like nothing can stand in the way. Because funny enough, for people listening, I'm actually, even though I was like diehard get out of the army, I was airborne infantry, so like I hated my life really bad, broke down my body, and now I'm actually trying to get back into the army. So it's like, even whenever shit like that comes up in the future where it's gonna be like super busy, or if it's like staff duty shift on a Saturday, I don't know, some gay shit, it's gonna be like
Oh,
I
they
still feel like
would do
nothing's
that.
gonna. Oh
Staff
yeah,
duty on a
those
fucking
feel like,
Saturday, 24 hours.
yeah, yeah, I hated those, but I just feel like nothing could stop it now. It's gonna be like it's gonna be like, oh, well, this podcast and just talking to you, Tyler, and everything. It's like it makes me feel better. It makes you feel better. Even my wife is like, wow, that's like a really good idea. Like before, like she knew we'd kind of be off and on talking about it, and she would like know we're doing our calls, and we basically be just doing the same shit. We'd be talking, and then but it was more like to where There wasn't like a thing where it's like a bar where it's like she's like, okay, I don't want to interrupt him. Like now she's even like, oh wow, like they're really taking it to another level. Or
Yep.
she sees all the positives. She's like, it's really good for us. But it's like, okay, cool, because we've met like a few people like you have and I have, where it's like everybody wants to go out. They want to like keep drinking and partying, go out and they just do stupid shit. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that going around. It's like,
I have met people like that. I was one of those people.
yeah, it's the same here. You know, it's like whenever you start drinking and then you want to go out, it gets dangerous. You know, you start interacting with people,
Oh yeah.
and it gives you like a hatred in your blood where it's like somebody says the tiniest, smartest little thing to you, and you just want to beat the shit out of them, or like them, you know, get into a fight where maybe it doesn't go your way and just it's really bad. So it's like she's noticed all the positive. She's like, it seems like it's like that's the best thing for everybody. It's like good for you guys. You stay in, you know, you talk, and like, you know, it's like just good for you. There's something really cool when somebody says something enlightening to you and you say something back to them and you exchange this information, like stuff you're learning. Like you gotta say again, I keep forgetting the language. It's also like it sounds like Arabic, but it's not. What is the language you're learning?
I am learning Aramaic.
Mm. Aramaic. Yeah, the language Christ spoke, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
I'm
and
not trying
yeah,
to get
and so
fluent in it or anything. I'm just trying to learn it enough to where I can pray in it. Because whenever I was still a pagan, I learned how to pray in Norwegian and Old Norse whenever we was doing our bloats and everything. And there's just something about it that feels right, praying in ancient languages like that.
absolutely, yeah, I agree. I do the same exact stuff. Like I was doing when I first became it, because most people become Norse pagan before, like you know, they start to dive deeper, and then I started to realize my ancestry and all that, like what I was, and I'm like, well, I'm not really Scandinavian. My ancestors from the Germanic tribes, which everybody who's Germanic in origin goes back to that area anyways. So like your English descent or you know Dutch or you know Frisian, German and all that shit. You know, you kind of it all kind of it goes back to Scandinavia. That's where the homeland is. But I was like, well, everybody dispersed out and they forged their own languages. You know, you had the West Germanic people. So for me, I started to find that to be important. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, there's all these languages. You know what I mean? And like when you talk about it, especially when it's your actual like your kin or like it's like something that goes back or like resonates with you, you know, like in any way. It truly is powerful. So mine was always old English, praying to the gods, you know, and it truly is. It's really powerful. Or any religion for that matter, like how you're doing it with yeah Christianity. Like you speak in a an older tongue, and it just sounds really archaic and just like really powerful. Like it just I don't know. Like you know, imagine somebody else who comes up on you and you just start speaking that way. They're like, "What the fuck?" It's like really cool. It's like people are like, "Well, damn, he." It's like speaking in like a ancient tongue. You know, like it's 2,000 years old.
I could just imagine, like, if I go to church tomorrow, which I don't know if I'm going to yet or not. It depends on how late we are on here. I'm fine either way. This call can take as long as it needs to. But my pastor up there is always trying to get me to pray with him. And ever since I became a Christian, I have a problem with praying out loud in front of other people. It just bothers me for some reason.
Mm.
But I could just imagine how we would react if I just start praying in Aramaic. I would love to see the reaction on his face.
Maybe the last day, like if you ever move one day, you know, or you know it's gonna be your last day at that church, you just need to do it. You're like, oh come on, pray out loud, and you're like, okay, and you start just start speaking Aramaic, and they're like, holy fuck, what? Yeah, fuck yeah.
I got so many things on here in my notes that I don't even know where to go next with it. Let's see. Here's a good one. Things that we are trying to improve this year.
Trying to improve this year? Oh man.
Like
I think
habits that
hope.
we're building, habits that we're breaking, something that you might be afraid to start with.
Hmm, I would say hmm, definitely want to stay consistent to like you know how often, which we already are. but like how often we're actually communicating and like we're hopping on something, and now it's like we have an every Saturday thing. Not to mention any other calls that we go to hop on,
Yeah.
but I think it's gonna be like really good for us is because it's I noticed like when you learn stuff like how like a book right now I'm reading is the culture of the Teutons, and just the other night we actually made an episode the other night, but then unfortunately it didn't go so well with the editing. It
Yeah.
was a corrupt file, so
I
we were
lost
talking
all
a
of it.
little bit about it was terrible. I was like, we talked so much, but I was talking about the culture of the Teutons and talking about Frith, um, and like, just like spiritual stuff. And I noticed for me how cool it feels. You know, what I mean, just like it'd be really cool if you do that sometime and you teach me some stuff you learned in the Bible or more stuff you learned in Aramaic. But like, it's really cool when you're reading something or you learn something. Like I'm also learning German, or or Old English, and you just share it. It makes it click more. So I think it's good for anybody out there for sure, like a lesson. But that's what it does for me at least too. Is like um, when we get on these calls, I've noticed like showing the book or like showing something I've learned and talking about it. It just like it stays with me like forever. It's just like it was important enough to share with someone else. So I want to keep that habit for sure because I think it'll benefit me and it'll benefit all of us to get on every week and exchange information and give that to somebody else. And then maybe if it's something they didn't know, then they could share it with somebody. And it's like, then it's just more people learning. It's like super beneficial. It's awesome, spreading cool words out there.
Are there any habits that you're like trying hard to break?
Break.
I know I
I'd
got several
say,
that I'm working on.
yeah. Um, I would probably have to say, just like not being consistent. I really am trying. Like, it's really weird for the first time in my life. I feel like, even though maybe not in my face, I don't show it, but like in my belly, it's like I feel like pretty out of shape and like kind of like beaten up a little bit at times. And I notice like right when I start, and I'm like, cool, get up there because right now it's gotten so bad. Like I've never been in that point in my life. I've always been able to do 6 and up pull ups or chin ups, and up to like 12 or 13. And I'm at the point where I can only do like barely 2 or 3 if I'm lucky to get up there. And I got that going on. I can
Makes me feel
run.
any
Like I've always
better.
had
I
an
can't
athlete.
do one pull up anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah, it hurts. Like you're like, oh my god, like you're trying to get up there, and it's like you're fighting for your life, and you're like, if I was dangling from somewhere, I'd be fucked. So, yeah, for the first time in my life, I'm like at that point, and yeah, I noticed like I'll go to do it, and I'm like, cool, I just need to do it 3 times a week. You know what I mean? Same thing with reading. Like I've been reading a lot. Like I'm really proud of how much I've read. I've been consistent, but it's like still I'll find myself where it's like up, I'm hopping on the game, which I like. I love playing games. I think it can be good for you too, especially like strategic games. It works that part of your mind where you're thinking, but it's like not as productive as like reading something enlightening or spiritual, or even when you work out, it's spiritual. Even like the works of Nietzsche. There's like tons of people who read Nietzsche or whatever. I've never read him, but I know quotes by him, and it's like literally the shit he says is like it's like the Greeks, basically. He's like referring to like the Greeks and how the Greeks believed really the perfect like warrior and good leader is somebody who's like smart in the mind, but they're also like not lazy, they can also like be fit and they could back up their point. So I'm like trying to do that because there's a thing called cortisol. I've actually been researching it. It's like literally
The
like
stress hormone.
tributes to yeah, and it's like when you get too much of it, it's like you're more bloated all the time, and it's like harder to lose that fat around you. And then
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with it too. I know what it is.
yeah, yeah. So that's what I've been doing. I've been getting that gut going. I've been like, ooh, and like fucking sluggish. Like even when you like get a full night's of sleep, you're just still like, ooh. So been trying to keep consistent with habits. Cause I've been so like lazy and carefree now for so long that it's like, I don't know. I think it's my biggest habit. It was that not non consistency or whatever or inconsistency. So I get more consistent. How about you?
As far as building or breaking, which one do you want me to cover first for me?
Mm. Build, yeah, build. What's your habit you're trying to build
Building.
up?
I'm trying to read a lot more, like not just the Bible. I'm reading a bunch of religious texts, like the Torah, the Bible. I got all kinds of other devotional books and stuff here that I read. And one habit that I'm really trying to build is praying regularly and meditation because it just helps me clear my mind and everything. And one thing that I learned about pretty recently that I found pretty interesting was a group of people called the Desert Fathers. I don't know if you ever heard of them or not.
No, no, tell me.
They're basically the earliest Christian monks.
Wow.
They wanted to be as close to God as possible, which is my goal now, but they went about it a different way. They just got rid of everything and just went and lived in the desert. The only thing they had was the scripture to read and each other, and that was it. Because they didn't want
Wow.
anything in the world standing between them and God. And they were like
Wow.
the
That's,
earliest monks. And I'm trying to read up on a bunch of their teachings and stuff and some of their habits that I can realistically take into my life now.
that's fucking awesome. I love that. I think that's what's cool too. That's gonna make you a very strong, like actually respectable Christian. Is the fact that even your habits that you had when you were a Germanic pagan was stuff that we would kind of do together, but you took it more far, and you would actually like you would fast more. Like I would try to fast. Like I would do the fasting all day until I get to the bloat, because I guess apparently historically that was something that the Germanic people did. But you would actually try to do longer fasting. Like you would try to do a couple days if you could, and like really push yourself.
I think
And
the longest one I did was a water fast, and it was like 2.5 weeks. That
Jesus Christ,
that was miserable though. I'm never doing that again.
I bet. Yeah, and I think you took a lot of that stuff very seriously, which I think is good because there's so many benefits to it for your body. Because humans, like that, we really are. We're meant when you really look at it, like you see like a hunter, or like how like hunters historically would like run or like track an animal forever because they know, well, they're faster than me, but humans have like the number one endurance, and they could just go forever and they could fast, and it's like you do better almost with your digestive system even. So it has all these physical benefits, but also like your mental clarity and like spiritual benefits. Like you're like fasting before you do like an offering. It's like it's so cool. Like just the stuff you go through, and it makes you really pray and like really like not care about anything around you. You just care about that God or gods, and you just give it your all. Like you're sacrificing yourself literally, almost because you're
It definitely makes it more
training.
enlightening.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I think you will be or you already are. Like it already makes you a very much more respectable. And I never thought about that before until now, actually. Oh, so that's like super cool because most Christians, it's kind of you just pray for something, you know what I mean, and you hope that it comes true. Or it's like you kind of have both sides of it, where it's like you understand like you have to give something also, and you have to put
Yeah,
work in.
nothing is
And
free. That's probably the biggest thing that I tried to teach whenever I was still y'all's Cody
Mhm.
is that it's okay to pray to God or pray to the gods that you believe in, but you shouldn't expect them to just magically fix every single one of your problems
Yeah.
because they're divine beings. They're not personal genie, and a
Hmm.
lot of people would treat them like that.
Absolutely.
But you still gotta put in the work. You still gotta do something. Everything has a price.
Absolutely. Yep. That's like a theme. For anybody who doesn't, no, it's like a theme with across like all religions, and I think it's cool too. Like we're literally like doing the same stuff right now. Like you're reading not just like the main like religious book, but it's also like people don't understand a lot of times like how beneficial it is and how important it honestly is to read more than just like the source. So like the Norse or the Germanic paganism equivalent would be the Eddas, poetic Eddas. It has a lot of the myths and stuff, and it's actually like the non like Christianized one, but it was that's good and stuff. But in order to like really understand, that's why I'm reading The Culture of the Teutons by Wilhelm Grunbeck. He's a early 20th century author, but they say like sometimes it's good to read something that's describe. You get to read other sources too, and like other people who are talking about it, because then you take a professional who wrote a book on it, and he's really giving it his professional like deciphering of every little verse or something, and he's really doing it, and it's like you really get way more enlightenment out of it. 'Cause sometimes when you just read the source, there's a lot of stuff you might miss, or like that go over your head. So it's like it's I think that's really cool. But yeah, you already are like 20 times more respectable than like basically like all other Christians, because one, you already have the habits of actually giving something, but then also you have like the understanding of like I need to read and like branch out more and really read these stories of all these ancient like peoples and stuff to truly understand your religion. Not to mention language, like you actually give a shit and you put the effort in to learn a language, that's of your religion. It's always really cool. So yeah, I think that's badass.
I feel like another thing that helps with that is, and I said this during the last recording that got lost, but we don't talk about that, is the fact that I my best to respect all religions. Like,
Mhm.
I was started out Baptist, and then I became a pagan, and now I'm a Baptist again. But
Mhm.
I'm not gonna go up to every pagan I see and say you're wrong, I'm right, you're gonna burn in hell, all that stuff, because everybody's free to believe whatever they want to believe. I can't make you believe what I do, and I wouldn't like people doing that to me, so I don't do it to them.
Yeah,
Basically, trying to stay like really open minded and respectful to other people.
absolutely. And that's what I've learned to stay consistent with and do the same. And it's like the more stuff I see too, it's even like because like we both believe different afterlives will happen, but like what's crazy is a lot of times like even Norse actually, I've actually found out recently that he's a really good Englishman that I like to listen to, Tom Rousel of Survive the Jive, but he was even talking about on Twitter, or X now, but he was talking like with people and like trying to like really stress like even Woden, or Odin in Old Norse. He even like he don't give a shit like what religion you are. He's like, wow, you're a really good fighter. You know what I mean? So it's like you're some like fucking German or English or Scandinavian guy or something. Some Germanic guy who decided to be Christian. It's like it's kind of fascinating because you even see like even the divine a lot of the times. In all different cultures, it seems like they don't really give a shit really what you believe. They're just gonna be like, "Wow, you're a really badass fighter. I'm gonna go ahead and snag you up for my final battle in the afterlife whenever that happens in the end days." And I think that's kind of cool. And it's almost like a cool lesson where it's like, who gives a shit like what you actually like all the little details of like, oh, this is my title of religion. It's kind of like what matters is like how you actually act. You know what I mean? And like what your character
I
is
agree.
about you, because even that English guy too, he said, really at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you try to pray or you um, try to act, try to make it right. It's kind of like he believes, and it's kind of true. Like everything in the afterlife has its place. That's why in the Germanic religion, like literally every person, every kind of person that there is, like swine, like absolute pieces of shit, they go to the worst places. And they get punished for a little bit until reincarnation. You have your best, like the best of the best, they get rewarded with that. And then you just have other guys like, honestly, mine, if I don't get to like live the most honorable life, even my like aspirations realistically, because not everybody gets to see combat, and I've already lived through that, where it's like the infantry life in peacetime, it's like you don't really see a whole lot. So it's kind of like, well, you know what I mean? I'm not really gonna get impress Woden. So it's like realistically, it's like my place would be in Thunor or Thorsall, where it's like the everyday man, I'd go there, or I might just go to hell, which hell in the Norse, as you already know, is like it's not really a bad place. There's different places you can go. So
Yep,
it's kind of
there's
like,
two different sides of hell with Norse paganism. You got a good side and a bad side.
yeah, and everybody's got their place, and I think that speaks like so many volumes across any religion, where it's like everybody's got their place. Every religion knows when it's like, oh, that's a piece of shit right there. I'm gonna throw him in a bad spot and punish him for a little bit. And then you got your good people and your people who are just trying to make it through life, and maybe they didn't get a chance to prove himself. And it's like, oh, better luck, the next round when you go through life again or something. So I think it's really cool. It really shows where it's like even the divine don't give a shit. They're just like they can weed out the bad people, and they're really stressing like be a good person or uphold this kind of character. So I think with how crazy and shitty the world's kind of getting to a bit, so it's a really good
Oh, it's getting
little
pretty shitty.
common sense. Yeah, pretty good common sense lesson for anybody with how bad the world's getting. Just better to you know judge someone by the character and how they're actually the quality of themselves are rather than what religious title they hold.
I forgot what we was talking about before that. Habits.
Oh yeah. So you covered your good habit.
Yeah. So the habit that I'm trying to break, which I already told you about this the other day, is drinking. Because whenever I
Oh,
start drinking, you can drink. I don't care.
so I can just like fucking Budweiser's big two tall. So I'm trying to quit drinking. Oh,
No, it's just a personal thing that I'm doing because I know whenever I start drinking, I can't reliably stop myself. And like the other day, I got blacked out, drunk. I had no memory of what happened whatsoever. I couldn't remember anything. And I woke up the next day and it gave me really bad anxiety. I already have anxiety problems. It's already a big issue with me. So I decided I was going to cut that out a little bit.
I am so sorry about that.
Give me just 1 second. It'll
Oh
make sense
shit, I
here in a
cannot hear
second.
you. Did I?
What?
Oh, right now?
Can
Oh,
you hear
I
me?
had it turned. It's like it's getting used to. It's like a little wheel that easily moves back here. Okay, sorry about that, man. I apologize.
You're good. Uh, I'm writing down some notes on a piece of paper so to make it easier for me to go back and edit out these sections like this, so I know what time to get to.
Oh, dude, you're smart. Shit, I would have been.
Yeah, I
I
was
would not
just
have thought of
sitting
that. Yeah.
here and I was just staring at the camera and I was just thinking, I was like, why am I not writing this down? It'll make my life a hell of a lot easier if I just write down all the times and stuff that I need to cut out.
Oh my god.
Where were we?
You were talking about habits to break, and you're talking about speaking about alcohol, and then
Yes.
yeah, and then you were talking about how whenever you get into it, you can't exactly, you struggle to stop, and then I think it's about where we ended before. I needed to go in there to help her real quick.
I don't really know what to say about it. I'll just say it again and I'll fix it all in editing and I'll make it look good. But a habit that
Sounds
I'm
good.
trying to break is drinking. I don't care if other people drink. Cody, you can drink.
Oops.
But with me, whenever I start drinking alcohol, I can't reliably stop myself. I'll have one drink and I'll tell myself I'm only gonna have a few drinks a day, and then I'll have one drink, then I'll open another one, then the whole case of beer's gone.
Mm-hmm. That's tough.
And as somebody that already has anxiety problems, PTSD, I'm prone to panic attacks, to waking up with that blackout anxiety, not knowing anything that I did the previous night whenever I was drunk. That causes a bunch of mental health problems that I'd rather not deal with. So
Man.
I'm gonna try to abstain from alcohol for a while. Probably not permanently, but for a good while, I'm gonna try to stay away from it.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. It's definitely tough. Like even now, like I had one tall boy, and it's like you kind of feel that feeling where you're like, not quite, not quite. And then you crack open this one. Now I got the warm feeling going, and it's like a bit in that same slippery slope too. Like we both have, we go back and forth. Like sometimes one of us would be good, and the other person's like fucking drinking crazy, and it's like, geez. So it's like, yeah, we'll both go back and forth, but it really is. It's crazy how slippery it is. If you just like, yeah, you have one, and because you want to keep feeling good, you want to like keep that feeling, and it's almost just like you don't want it to end, and like you know how alcohol is, like you know like oh I'm gonna have a couple, I'm gonna feel good, then I'm like oh man, I know in like 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes I'm not gonna feel as good. Like I want to keep it going, and the next thing you know, yeah, you go through like a whole case because you're like, oh, I just want it to keep lasting, and yeah, I know, and it's like even whiskey, it's like crazy because I'm like not the biggest hard liquor fan, but then like
Oh, I used to be big time,
like yeah, same here.
like
Like
drinking two or three fifths a week.
yeah, I remember you would like drink a lot of it, and you just like hardcore go, and then I was doing it with you for a little bit. I was like a big fan of like Proper 12, especially the apple flavor where you drop down percent by like 5, so it was like even easier to like chug down. It was just like
Dangerous is what it
dangerous.
is.
Yeah, super smooth, and I just sit there and do it, and like be surprised. You just like look at your first glass, and you're just like a little whiskey, and you sip it a little slow. You're getting used to like like oh shit, I'm drinking whiskey a bit strong, and then next thing you know, like I have nothing left except like like this much of my Proper 12 fucking Irish whiskey bottle, and yeah, like even then you get used to it, and it's just because you just want to keep feeling good. You're like, oh man, I'm not feeling it quite yet, and then you feel it, and then you're just like, oh, but now I want the feeling to last, and it's like crazy, man. So it's a really good habit because it's like it's kind of cool when you feel the same like enlightenment and feel the same like. Because I think like with like religious stuff, I've noticed like I think alcohol is really fun to like offer, and like you share a drink with the gods, or you offer it to whatever god, and it's like it's fun. But I think like sometimes what's really cool is when you do spiritual stuff too, even, and you feel like you're fasting, or like you're offering something almost without like indulging yourself in a way. I don't know, like there's something more enlightening about it when you truly like fast and you're not like you're sober, and you have such a clear mind. You're like, wow, I feel amazing. Like I feel invincible and like enlightened, and it's like you're just like it's a I think even for like spiritual, it's like you feel like you truly sacrificed a bit of yourself, to please your God, but yeah, no, drinking's fun. It's like it truly is fun. It's just sometimes it gets crazy and ends up being too much fun.
I feel like if I do start drinking again, I need to make sure that I'm actually with somebody that can like cut me off if they notice I'm getting a little too rowdy or whatever. Because
Yeah, well,
my biggest problem is I like to make an ass of myself whenever I get really drunk.
mhm. I don't know. Yeah, I think I think I could help you out there. Should come move to North Carolina.
Hey, we've been talking about that.
Yeah, for real, man. Be good.
All the
Yeah.
listeners don't know that, but yeah, we've been talking about that for a good while. And it's something
We'll have
that
to
I'm
make some.
seriously considering too.
Yeah, I would love it, man. And hopefully, I mean, the trip's still on. We just got to figure out if our other person on here is your twin brother, actually, Bailey. And if Bailey can drive you, then um we'll have to make a lot of videos while you're down here. I'm fucking
We're
doing
gonna do a
crazy shit
vlog.
out here. Yeah, I'll do a whole vlog. It'd be crazy. Yeah. So yeah. Oof. I want to ask actually, for Aramaic, how much would you be willing to share? I haven't heard you ever say anything in Aramaic before. Would you be willing to share some about like what you've learned so far?
I can, but I have to cheat. I have the pronunciations on my notes on my phone.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, send it.
But so far, the only thing that I learned in Aramaic is the Lord's Prayer.
Nice.
Let's see if I can pronounce all this without completely butchering it. Okay, here we go. Abba Debeshmaya, Nethkadesh Shmuk, Malkuthak, Ta Malkuthak, Nawe Spianak, Aikna Debeshmaya, Afkad Nekuna Nishbaklan, Wayla Talan, Elenis Yuna, Al Tabanan Benina, El Kitson Min Bisha, Matola de Yalk, He Malkutha, Wahala, Wateshbukta, Lo Lam Omin.
Hell yeah.
That is the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic. My
Sounded cool
pronunciation is
shit,
probably
man.
not 100% spot on, but it's close
Fuck
enough.
yeah. That sounded great, man. It sounded cool. I need to um yeah, I definitely need to make my own because you even did that whenever you were Germanic pagan, but you actually would actually write certain prayers, and you even taught for like giving like tips for us the benefits of writing poetry to like the gods, you
Oh
know, and
yeah,
like writing certain
I've
things,
loved
and
that.
it's fun. Yeah, it really is fun. I need to do it more, to be honest with you. I remember the feeling, like I can even feel it in my heart right now if I really think about it. Just really powerful. It means like something about that time period, like very much speaks to me. But like 2 to 3 years ago, because I think a year ago we started to do less religious stuff, and it was more music. But like in the bracket of 2 to 3 years ago, 3 years ago being like when we first started doing kindred calls. But I remember something just about that like enlightening feeling every time we got on a call. I remember some of the stuff where like you would share like, yeah, this was like some poetry I wrote, and some of the symbols you'd research, and like I
Oh,
remember that feeling of it influencing me.
you'll find this interesting. That's something that I kept. Like that's a habit that I kept. Like back then, I used to write down a bunch of prayers and poems and stuff to the gods, and now I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm writing my own psalms and stuff.
That's awesome. That's fucking cool. I love that. I think that that actually you like teaching that was something that's even stick with me, and it's something I actually want to get back into doing because I know like when I think about it, like I'll speak to the gods in Old English usually. Um, like I'll offer the beer and or whatever alcohol, whatever libation. And I will usually say like each stankiethe woden, each stankiethe thunor, or if I'm thanking my ancestors and the gods at the same time, if it's a multi gloat, then it'd be like each stanke eo. Um, you know, Woden on my ancestors, like something like that. And then what else I say? Oh yeah, Hal Westu or Westu Hal. It's like be thou. Like if you were to like fast forward to Middle English, the equivalent would be like be thou whole. Basically saying like good health to you. That's Old English, like uh Westu Hal or Hal Westu, and then you would say like Siathe and like victory to you. So Siathe Woden, Hal Westu Woden. And I do those but hearing you having like with the poetry you'd write, I'm like, how badass would it be? Like I'm actually thinking this all right now. I don't know why I'm saying like, oh, I've been thinking, but like no, it's like you're reading and like talking about that stuff. It's really cool, man. It has me like thinking back to that time 2 to 3 years ago, like how enlightened we were. Like we were super like on it, man. Like I remember I was super poor, like because I just got out of the army. It's a huge pay cut. And I remember telling you guys that I was like only making 2,400 a month doing painting and construction. And I remember, but the one thing I did is like I was getting super lean. I remember all the progression pictures I'd sent. I was like sending lean
Oh yeah,
pictures, and
I
um,
remember that.
I remember, yeah, I was like getting super lean. I was like super like whole in my spirit, in my body, and I like correlated the two. And I remember like, even though it was all like I went from like 200 something to like 155, and I'm already like right there where I need to make sure my nutrients are good, and I shouldn't really be fasting. I should just be consistently eating and being in a deficit. I was just still so die hard because of our kindred and like the way you did stuff, and we kept each other motivated. was fasting. And I could do that whenever I was like super lean. And I was like, all right, you probably shouldn't get any leaner than this because it's like there's no need to. And it was just like, I'm gonna fast for the gods.
I feel like
And
it's dangerous at a certain point too.
yeah, it is. And I was just so motivated. I was just like, I want to do this. I want to fast all day while doing construction for the gods. And
It makes for a
like we
miserable
would sit
day.
there. It was, but then like you feel kind of good though, because like after the first little bit, you're like, holy fuck, I really want to eat. I'm so hungry. But then like after a bit, like your body just is like you're super clear, and you're like, holy shit, like you feel so clear, especially like when you like on your break or something, or while you're working, you're listening to things, or you're like going over what you're gonna do tonight at the full moon whenever it reaches the sky and stuff, and you're like, I'm gonna give to the gods, and then historically, like after I'm done fasting, just like feast and drink. And I was like, well, I don't sound too bad, so I just need to hold out until then. I'm gonna have a big feast and drink, and
Make it all worth it.
that was cool. Absolutely, that's what was beauty about though. Point is like yeah, 2 to 3 years ago, the stuff that you would teach, and we'd go head to head and keep each other motivated, and the stuff you would teach us was like I think really cool, and like I think talking about it now, I really want to do that again. Like I really do. I think I want to make a maybe in like in future episodes show the progression of it. But I think I really want to make a some kind of poem or prayer that I say every time I go up there in Old English. You know, I think that'd be really beneficial. So
I think it's a
I
good
think
idea.
that's like that'd be really cool. So yeah, yeah, we'll yeah, linguistics. That's something that'll get brought up a lot on here. Well, listening. Of watching. I love German and Old English. Funny enough, even though Frisian or Dutch is closer to Old English, um, for me personally, like when I hear German, it actually sounds closer to Old English for me. Like you have Ich danke the or Ich danke eu, and you have German where it's Danke or Danke schön, you know, and like Danke, Danke. Um,
Very
There's like,
close.
each, yeah, exactly. I, like each, the word for I, each. And then, in German is ich. You just soften it and go ish. It's like so similar and it's like really cool for me. And like I've always been fascinated with German. I love guttural languages. I like stuff that sounds really like brutal, just kind of out there. And it has like yeah, no, it's like German. German's one of those. And
The most
of
aggressive
course,
language
like
you could ever learn.
yeah, for real. Like I love German. It's very cool language, and even I want to one day learn the northern dialect, Plattdeutsch. It's like in northern Germany, which makes sense because northern Germany is where the Anglo-Saxons came from. Northern Germany and southern Denmark, and that's what English people are today. It's my ethnicity and yours too, being Vincent on your paternal side. And so basically, literally, Anglo-Saxons or English people are, um, a lot of their DNA comes from Denmark and Germany. So even the Plattdeutsch dialects, instead of saying Wasser for like water, they say Water. It's spelled exactly how water is. They just obviously the W's are pronounced with a V sound. So like it'd be like um, you say like ich habe Durst, ich habe Water instead of like the rest of Germany where they say Wasser. So it's super cool. And then obviously in English you'd be like water and then Water. So it's a lot of cool things. But yeah, those are my languages I like to really talk on. And Tyler's been even though he would never say it, he would always be like really cool and like good with like nonchalantly be good with linguistics yourself. You would just be like, you nonchalantly be like, yeah, I like Norwegian. It just calls to me, and you just make your prayers in fucking Norwegian and shit, and you're just
I
like,
was never fluent though. I wasn't that good with it.
I mean, I think you would say it really good. You just never said it with an accent. You just be yourself. You just be all chill. You just look up to the sky and make the borders around our bloat circle, and you would just be like, you just say it, but with just your accent. Yeah, you just nonchalantly be like, yeah, I'm just gonna
I still remember
do
exactly
my
what I used to say whenever we was opening the circle for the bloats too.
say it.
Helga ve theta och hindra alla iska.
Oh, yeah, and then explain what that means.
You explain it.
I forgot. I forgot.
It's basically a short little prayer. You do it whenever you're opening for a bloat, and it basically loosely, very loosely, translates to protect the sacred vey and all who reside in it.
Mm, yeah, I love that. Um, I really like the way you would do like the pre-built. 'Cause I really found like the main things that mattered. Um, I even went through a period where I was like diehard, like no, it's done this way because of historical sources, and I was like a bit of a dickhead at a lot of times,
Yeah, you
and
were. I'll say it.
I was really big of a dickhead. It's like some fucking like by the book shit. It was really gay. He was really like he's like some fucking faggotry or something. I uh but I really remembered the way you did it. And I remember the video you showed. It was like the Northwoods Kindred, and it was like their method of doing it. And you were like
Yeah,
in close contact with them. And
'cause I
I
was
liked it a
constantly
lot.
talking
Holy
to
Forces of the
Cody up
North.
there.
I liked it a lot. Yeah, Holy Forces of the North. Yeah, the West, South, East, and you would do that before each one. And um, I typically would do circles still, but I found just I usually do like counterclockwise or clockwise. There's like symbolism with which way you circle around the tree, but because I do a tree, I have like a big oak tree that I nickname or even just really just call Thunor's oak and stuff, like for Thor's oak. 'Cause oak is like a big wood symbolic of Thor or Thunor, and you do that. But like really, when you look at it, the biggest things in all Indo-European libation givings is you pour the libation, you invoke the god, and you had that habit too, even before I ever like saw those like videos and researched about that. But you actually taught that too. It'd be like you before you pour out the drink, you invoke the god, and then you say something about them, and you say like something they're known for, a compliment like oh Thunor, the giant slayer, the Jotun killer, and you say all these things about him to compliment him, just say things about him, and then you ask what you want and you wish to receive, and then you pour out the libation to him, and it's just kind of like
You got to flatter him a little bit.
always say, yeah, flatter him just a little bit, tickle him up, and yeah, like really looking back, it's like I think it's just it goes back to literally what we were talking about like an hour ago. It's like how good timing it is doing the podcast now. I think we've like really progressed, and we've really like become so wise. Like everybody had their own shit. Like I was like, oh, I'm becoming so enlightened, but then I'm like being an asshole because it's like whatever I learned in that moment, it's like it's like it's that or nothing else. And it was like everybody had their problems at the time. Like you were like really good at the stuff. You already had a lot of the stuff learned really. Like you had and you were good with like poetry and understanding how to give to the gods. Like you already kind of had that stuff learned. And then I think the only issue you had was just like you had a lot of like personal stuff going on. So you were drinking a little bit heavier at the time. So a lot of
I was
times
drinking
we'd get
a lot
on.
heavier.
You were like a fucking heavyweight when it came down to like the drinking. And we tried to do drinking competitions. I remember that. So a lot of our calls, it was all this knowledge you had, and you were very enlightened, and you had like your shit down. But the issue was we'd include alcohol. It'd be
Yeah,
like,
then I couldn't
and then
fucking
you
stop.
yeah, and that became the call. So it was like, yeah, that was our issue at the time. Everybody was like in a different direction, and then but now we're just like,
We're a
at the
lot
end of
more
the day, we're
chill
just
about it
trying to,
now.
yeah, and we're just trying to like, um, like if one day we ever did like a strictly religious or an offering video or a podcast on like lessons for doing offerings or at least our personal takes, on how to do them. It's like basically the conclusion of it would be if we ever did that, it would be like there isn't 110% strict way of doing it. It's just really as long as you follow the basic formula. Really, any religion where it's like you give something to receive something, like a gift cycle. You say something about him, you pray to him, and like fucking crazy. So took like what 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years for me to get that.
Hey, I wasn't perfect either. I am running out of notes.
Yeah, notes. Yeah. Something to talk about. I want to make sure we've really talked it out and like we feel good. It's like it's kind of fun. Like when you get a topic to talk about and you know it's gonna be like uploaded for the public. It's like it gets kind of fun. You're like, damn, I just want to keep talking. It's like it's great. Um, hmm. I guess we can talk about future plans. Like stretch that out as long as we can. Because I'm sure that'll end up like when we talk about something, it'll end up like divulging into something else, and then we'll come back to it anyways. So that might stretch us out for the last bit. But maybe we could talk about future plans, um, future even like hopefully personal, like us actually seeing each other in person and things we can do for the community in terms of like cool videos to make, cool insightful things. I think let's just do it and then we'll talk about it because I think I have one in my mind already. Like before I forget. Try and action. Um, but so yeah, for the future actually for anybody who eventually listens, I'm thinking if Tyler and I get to see each other in person here soon, that I think will be really cool is of course doing videos and even doing like little vlog kind of stuff. But even when he comes here, I'd like him to bring a lot of his like religious books or things he's reading, and I think it'd be really cool to like do an in person, just a huge study session. Like we should almost like when we can like do like comparative stuff. Choose like a topic or choose something that's like very um, you know it's what's the word we've been saying it this entire time. Um, Enlightening. There we go. Enlightening.
Yeah, that
We've been
works.
saying that the whole episode. We've been saying enlightening. Um, choose something that's an enlightening topic, whether it's about just everyday life. Mine that I'm on right now in the culture of the Teutons is Frith. We talked about that for like a fucking hour and a half or something like that, just by itself in the last episode that
I'm
got
pretty sure
deleted.
it was like an hour and a half, and that was like the entire thing.
Yeah, like yeah. So we'll we'll keep it juicy and stuff because I've already talked about it. So and like we've shared it, so it's like it's in my mind. Like we were talking about earlier, it's like more beneficial when you share stuff. It sticks with you. So like, but things about Frith, and a comparative word or like comparative stuff that you will find out about if you haven't already, and the Aramaic language and the text and stuff of your religion now. And I think it'd be really cool. I think it's beneficial. Like already so many people do it on YouTube and stuff, but it'd be really cool to have like this podcast do an episode for us, just more people, just add us to it. You know what I mean? More people that are like we're an interesting duo. Um, like you were on both sides of it. You even were a Germanic pagan, and now you're on the other side of it, and you're learning Aramaic. You're following God and stuff, so it'd be really cool, especially because you're studying. You're actually trying to switch your degree, and you're trying to be a theologian.
Yep. Right now, I'm majoring in engineering technology. Honestly, I just picked that because that's what Bailey picked, and it seemed like it was fun. I saw some of the classes that he was taking, and I was like, "Oh, I could do that." But it's not really something that I enjoy. But when it comes to religion, not just Christianity, but whenever I was a pagan too, I get really into it, and I take it very seriously, and I like to learn as much as I possibly can about all of it.
Yeah.
So I'm wanting to switch schools completely because the school I'm going to now doesn't have a theology program. So I'm wanting to go to one that does, if I can find one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know even with Purdue Global, I didn't think they did, but for like professional studies, that's not going to be a strictly theology one. But I mean, even just for like to keep your hopes up, like I haven't noticed with Purdue from switching from an IT, same thing here. Had like 6 months left for IT, and I've already talked to you about that. It was like, yeah, IT is not where it's at, and I was like, oh shit, I could do a professional studies degree, and there's like classes I could pick out, and I was like, oh shit, I can pick out like even for stuff that's on like U.S. history. I was like, there's like all these like little subcategories, and I was like, oh wow, like it's like government that'd be beneficial, like all this stuff. And I even saw they have religious and culture, like religion and culture, linguistics. So I mean, like I think that's where it's at. It's so much fun to learn.
Oh, I thought of something that we can do to end the podcast.
Yeah,
That
what's
might
up?
that might be a little fun. Do you use ChatGPT?
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm thinking I've already talked to ChatGPT about the whole podcast thing. I use it a lot to get some ideas going and stuff. And I'm wondering if it can build us a really cool Q&A that we can blow through.
Man, that'd be cool as shit. Okay. Cool. I like that a lot.
Are you doing the same thing?
Okay. I was, yeah. I was getting distracted. I was looking at my history of all things from the past, like however long I've owned this thing of like the history I looked up, and I'm like, what the fuck? I looked that up. ChatGPT.
Okay. I
So
got
when
a
you say
pretty good list here. Got
okay,
10 questions.
10 questions. Okay. So we're just simply asking it to create a Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just something fun to end the first episode on.
Okay.
So, first question. Who derails conversations more and who pretends they don't?
Okay, repeat the question.
Who derails conversations more and who pretends they don't?
Hmm.
I feel like this is tricky because
uh,
we got to think about whether we're thinking about me and you or me, you, Gabriel, and Bailey.
yeah, we'll keep it to you and me because I think historically, you and I have always been the conversation drivers, no matter how many people are in the group chat. Like, you know, when people are calling, like
Yeah,
every call we've done in the past 3 years, you and I have like been the drivers.
we definitely talk the most.
Yeah.
I say you definitely talk more than I do, though, but out of the four of us, it's mainly just me and you. Like today, never mind. Answer the question. I was about to go off
Um,
on something else. I derailed the conversation.
there you go. I think it's so tough because I think you do at times for sure, but then like you're very like you'll say it and then it's done. Like you say it and that's it. So like you'll derail. You will derail like a bit, but like you don't keep going on and on. So I think my ass like I'll fucking derail, and then I'll just keep going on and on and on, and then somehow 20 minutes later I found something else to derail into from that derail, and now I'm
And
talking about
it's
another.
just a domino effect. It just keeps going and going and going.
And then but then I fortunately have the decent ability most of the time, unless I've had a little too much to drink, where I can be like, so to answer your original question, like I'm pretty decent with that. I'm proud of that, but I also unfortunately derail a lot.
But out of the two of us, who derails more? I think we answered the second part on who pretends they don't, that being you.
Yeah. See, that's tough because I think we both derail. It's just about yeah. So it's the conclusion we're at so far is we both derail, but you are more straightforward and you'll derail and then you'll get out of there like, all right, what's that? Um, but who does more? I guess we'll have
I say it's
to
probably
say
pretty close, but I'd say probably you a little bit more.
yeah.
Unless I'm drinking,
I
then
think
it's me.
yeah. Then you'll keep going. So I'd say probably me. Then yeah, I might derail a little more. I get too excited. I don't know how to answer questions without going on and on. Even my lady complained about that. I just keep going on and on. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Did you get a good question on yours?
Let's see what they ended up doing. Trying it again. It gave me a weird one. It was like all history stuff. Let's see. Oh, it was actually pretty cool because it has me like it understands my personality now. Like I've even named it a cool
Oh yeah.
Anglo-Saxon name. It has me named as Earnwulf, so like it knows me really well. She knows me a lot. But I don't know, hers is pretty fun though. It's actually kind of cool because these are questions even somebody who's not of a historical mind. It's like a trendy question. Would a Viking beat a samurai in a fight? For me, fuck yeah, a fucking Viking will beat a samurai.
Explain. I agree, but I want to hear
Okay.
your explanation for it.
Okay. For one, well, the time periods are different, because I think in the Viking Age, if I understand correctly, the actual Eastern world, they were at peace, so they were flourishing with art, food. They weren't really needing to fight a lot. So, but we're just saying if a Viking with a samurai and their time periods collided. So, um, I would say because simply, a samurai typically, they have like the big, beautiful long bow. They intricately do this. It's like, yeah, it's beautiful and all. And then they have like the katana. It's like it's all great. Um, but like a shield. Like you take a Viking or even a Dane axe. You know what I mean? A big, long, beautiful, strong wood like ash or something, and you take that and all the armor. I think the benefits of chainmail, um, with possibly like fur. Like fur is pretty tough. People don't realize how tough fur can be with it. Like all the padded layers, even a gambeson underneath the chainmail, possibly, or tunics. But I just think all that protection. And then say if we were to do a shield, what I mean, just a normal shield, a round shield with a sword or an axe, like most likely a sword if we're saying warrior class, like aristocrat. But like I think all of that protection and like Vikings, if you know in the historical sources, like the Norse, for a Holmgang, they would draw a circle, and I think they even measured it out. Like in the sagas, they had the actual measurements. It was like what 4 or 5 shields long, and when you take 4 or 5 shields, it's not really a big circle. So it really shows that the Vikings love to fight up close. Like they were good wrestlers, even to this day in Iceland. They practice glima, so it's kind of like they love to fight up close. And not to be, uh, weird here or like racist, but typically a Viking was pretty big. I mean, most Scandinavians, even to this day, are on average taller than Asian people. And you take a big guy getting up close to you, the first to get up close with his shield and his sword, you know what I mean, protecting himself, but you just have your katana.
Just imagine
He's
yourself in
gonna
that
get,
situation. That'd be scary as hell.
yeah, the guy's gonna be big, man. He's gonna have the big inhuman Gearmanbrew helmet, the one where it's got the chainmail beard, and then like the eye slits are like really tiny. He's gonna look like a fucking robotic monster coming, like a demon coming up at you, and he's gonna want to fight up close, like
Hell,
Vikings
even
did. I
the
mean,
chainmail alone is gonna turn the tide of that fight like big time.
yeah, I mean, even the picture here, like you compare that. I don't know if you can see that. You can't, can you?
Your filter's blurring it.
But you see the samurai kind of like the little, I'm talking about the little flimsy looking like plates that kind of flap that the samurai would wear,
Yeah.
Lamellar, something like that, Lamellar plates. But like, I just think too, getting up close is everything, and like you get into a tussle, the big guy, and he's gonna, not just a big guy, like big isn't everything, but like they love to wrestle. Like that's one of the sports or like things the Vikings and the Norse did so much was the swimming competitions where like literally that's a real competition sport they do. Let's swim and they'll try to wrestle in the water and drown each other and see who wins. Like it's literally fucking wrestling in the water until somebody drowns, It's just I think all these things make for a harsher the Vikings gonna be harsher and just like it's gonna grapple the shit out of the other guy. So I vote Viking, but I went on and on and on. So sorry about that. But what about you, Tyler? Explain your meaning or like your reasoning why you think the Viking would win.
I agree that the Viking would win, but with me, it's less tactical, I guess, and more of a mindset thing. Because I feel like whenever Vikings are fighting, they're fighting to win. They don't give a shit. But with samurais and most people from Japan like that, the biggest thing is honor. They want a fair fight. They want it all evenly matched and everything. But a Viking is just gonna fight you to He's fighting to win, and you're not getting away from it.
Absolutely. That was like really cool. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because like that's even deep within itself. Like even in the sagas it says like it's okay to steal or be cunning and do shit whatever it needs whatever you need to do to win to
Yeah.
another tribe or another person as long as you win. And
But with the
that's
samurais, they
like
won't do that because they want everything to be perfectly honorable, fair, even matched, all that stuff.
that's a really good point right there. I like that. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Oh, yeah, I got some interesting ones in the future that are coming up here. Wow. Yeah, this spot like the yeah, not Spotify. ChatGPT, it's nuts. She really knows me. I didn't even put in history. I just put in like Q&A for a podcast, like fun questions, and it just fucking puts in like
All of mine are
because
like
earlier when
pertaining towards the podcast.
it's so funny because like I even put podcast, but earlier when I just put in like because I was like, oh, maybe it'll be fun history ones, but it was like way too much. It was like who were the Proto-Indo-Europeans, and I'm like, okay, it's a little too nerdy. That's like for me,
Yeah,
and
I won't know that.
it's like who were they, and I was like, who were the Yamnaya, and I'm just like a little too much. And then now that I just put fun Q&A questions for a podcast, it's like history ones, but they're pretty fun. But all right, yours next. What's yours?
Let's see. If this podcast blows up, goes viral, what is the reason going to be? Why would this podcast ever go viral? That's a kind of deep question.
What do you think? I'll let you answer that first.
Well, it gave me a few examples on here, and I agree with them. But the biggest thing that I think is absolute nonsense, that's what it put. And I just think the chaotic energy being all over the place is probably, it seemed more realistic, I guess. And I feel like people would like that a lot more because it doesn't seem scripted. Because obviously we're talking about a whole bunch of random stuff. We're not scripting really anything other than topics.
Yeah, yeah. I yeah. Was that everything for yours? I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree. Yeah, I was gonna say I basically just agree. I think keeping it realistic, also the flexibility of schedule. It's like um, I think just like I don't know, yeah, being able to have a script or like overall topics we're gonna do, but then just being like um especially like being able to be open to other people. I mean, just being like, what do you guys want to talk about? Because like we're big learners. Like, I mean, hell, you became the opposite of a Germanic pagan. You know what I mean? And you like die hard, like dove in. You've researched, like you're researching every day and you're learning. You know what I mean? So like we're all about being very proud of our culture, being proud of who we are in terms of ethnicity or race. But we're also like really much like, oh, it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like knowing other cultures and knowing their strengths or weaknesses. Like giving it a fair go with any topic that we do. So I think like being like you were saying, like to other people, the normal people watching, it's gonna be like kind of fun because then it's like they can kind of chime in and leave comments, and it's just like, especially with starting out, it's kind of fun because we love really seeing every little thing and going through them and giving a fuck was that? What the fuck was that? I see.
Uh, for those who don't know, I live out in the country in a farmhouse, and we have stink bugs. And I have a window unit in this room because the central air doesn't work upstairs, and I'm upstairs right now. So stink bugs will come in through the window, and they'll go all over the place. And one of them was crawling on the mic, so I just flicked it off.
Dear God,
Sent that little
that's
bastard
funny as
flying.
fuck. Uh, yeah, I mean, keeping it like that, and then flexibility for sure. Like I think I even know like next Saturday I was like, oh shit, that's gonna be our first day in like months that we've been baby free. So my wife and I were going to see movies, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to our first bar for the first time, like together. And so I was like, oh yeah, like if I can't get on next Saturday, then like I think like the flexibility because like we're not like a bunch of scholars. They're like, no, I must be on Saturday night at 5 o'clock p.m. You know, fucking like those podcasts are usually great and really enlightening, but it's like it's kind of shit because then it's like it's very strict and rigid, you know. So yeah, I think that's what will
Seems
make us
less like
good.
a
It's,
podcast and more like fucking school, or
yeah,
like they treat it like an actual job instead of just a hobby.
absolutely. Anybody who's made it this far into it, if they're watching, I think it's like don't underestimate how much we know. You know, like not in a disrespectful way, but just don't underestimate it. You know, if you're like, okay, you know, they're fun, but they don't really seem very as enlightened as they're saying, but we really are. I just think we like derail so much, and like we really like to enjoy what we're talking about, and you know, this is also a first episode for sure, so it's kind of like
Yeah, we're still kind
we're
of
having
easing
fun.
into it.
Yeah, we're having fun with it, but there's like so many topics that we can maybe we could get structured. You know, like it'd be really cool, like for a little bit, for a couple episodes, if we're just getting a fuck ton of history or like religion stuff, even if it's about a culture like say only one of us know about, or maybe none of us know about, it'd be kind of cool because then it'd be our obligation, almost like a secondary task or like secondary school we're doing, where it's like or second job or something. It's like, oh, well, in my downtime, I need to like at least research a little bit on it out of respect for that person who requested that for a video on that or a podcast. And that's what's kind of cool, you know, like this is kind of like our like first time really considering like how much we can do for other people. And you know, because it is fun, you know, even if it's like a tiny podcast or something and it doesn't have much views, it's kind of like somebody can put their thing out there and be like, hey, could you do something on this, really explaining stuff. It kind of makes somebody feel good when somebody actually listens, and you have like this unity where it's like, oh,
Yeah,
the fucking creators listen to you, and they made a video or a podcast about it. It's like it's really nice. So yeah, we'd like to do that for people because history is awesome. There's so much culture and religion and like just history, like military. Like like we love militaristic stuff. Like we can do videos on like or like podcasts on armor, like all that shit. So I think that's what's gonna make us. I think we'll do pretty well. It just might take a while, and even if we only have a small group of people for the longest time, it'll be so much fun.
that's
So
usually how it goes. All this stuff always starts out small, then unless you're already fucking famous.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. Got a couple here that could be really interesting. Uh, yeah, we got some interesting ones here. Okay, um, oh, I think this is a good one here. I'm gonna get into warfare because I think
Warfare.
warfare is fair. Yeah, we were just talking about it a little bit, especially last night. We are nerding out playing War Thunder and talking like I was like nerding out. I'm sure you remember I was like nerding out so hard, like, oh yeah, like Germany was, you know, they had like 50% less losses than any other country. Like it was like great here and there, and then like U.S. was like they were like really good logistically though, and they just you know like all this shit was just more numbers, nerding out. So like love that shit. But for this question that I scrolled down to see, uh, it's gonna be which was worse, ancient warfare or modern warfare?
Mm. I would say ancient warfare
Explain.
because I just feel like, to me personally, there were there was no Geneva Convention back then.
Mm,
Everything was brutal. There were no rules other than you're gonna fight, you're gonna win, do what you gotta do. There were no statute of limitations or anything, so nothing was off limits. So if we're going with traditional warfare, I would say ancient is worse, just because of what they could
Ancient.
do to you without getting in any kind of trouble for it.
Hmm. That's a fair point right there. I would say kind of tough. I'm even looking on like the inside of answers that ChatGPT gave, and I'm like, but damn. I'd say like on one hand you got like the ancient warfare, everything was up close. I mean, other than like obviously archery, you get archers or whatever, and just pow, like fucking like thick wooden arrow comes flying at you. It fucking hurts, terrible. But ooh, damn, I don't really know. I have to say, I'd actually say modern warfare in terms of like the modern period, not today. Today's just kind of like, oh, there comes a drone flying at me, poof, you're just pink mist. But like and the whole modern period of like all the shit that's been developed specifically for me because like I love World War I, World War II history, specifically from the Wehrmacht point of view with Germany shit because like people really shit on Germany, but it's like they were just young guys too. They were just soldiers at the end of the day, Like not every guy was a Nazi. Like a lot of them were just guys serving their country and like they fought hard as fuck, but like there's so much shit with like everything becoming industrial that there's so much scary weaponry developed, like tear gas, not tear gas, that's easy. Mustard gas, sorry, mustard gas. Artillery, just like all these inhuman sounds. That even the Luftwaffe with like the fucking the planes in World War II where they put the sirens on them, so as they start to dive bomb, they'd flick the siren on. That fucking just like coming down on you, and it sounds like scary, almost like a banshee or a demon in the night or something. But like, it's kind of close. It's kind of close because yeah, everything would be like, well, you get shot from some guy that you'd never even seen, and then he shoots you, and it's like you could get really lucky, and it's just like, oh, he just shot me, like I don't know, fucking shoulder. I'm injured. I can get out of the war now. You know what I mean? You have a chance to get out of it and just be counted as injured. You know what I mean? Yeah, but you're like lucky ticket out, become a war hero. But like on the other hand, like I feel like so many deaths like happen when industrialization happened because it's like I think World War II, yeah, it's the highest death rate compared to any other conflict the world has ever seen. Like the world itself, like 70 million people died just in a war, and I think like I think I'm almost more scared of that because like if I had a shield, I had a sword, and I knew my father trained me well. Like he was somebody who he's lived like I was a part of a family, like they're all warriors or something. It's like you said, but like I almost think it could be an advantage because you said like you could do whatever you want to the person.
Yeah.
So with that, it's like if I know the guy's not going to be alive to bitch at me or like bitch about how I fought unfairly, like if I need to, like I'll just fucking like I'll even like gnaw on his fucking throat or something like that, and like fucking do whatever I gotta do to make sure I don't die. You know what I mean? And just like see the end of the battle.
See, that's
But
exactly
like,
why I say that ancient warfare is worse.
yeah. But on the other hand, if you're the guy losing, and some guy's just like gnawing on your throat because he's like he doesn't want to die, then it's like it's kind of scary.
I feel like my
And
biggest thing is I fear the human mind more than I do any technical technology advances,
yeah,
because the human mind could be a pretty fucked up thing.
yeah. That's pretty much the answer to this thing, Dev. There's like it's different flavors. It says ancient war, brutal up close. Modern war, industrial scale destruction. A Roman sword to the gut is horrifying. Artillery over a trench line is existential. It's like yeah, it is nuts. I think too, like what's scary is like with the human mind, because it was even like Nazi torture methods that are like fucking terrible. Because like I've like when I was really struggling on money, I was donating a lot, and I had a vein blowout at one point, and so like ever since then, like surprisingly, I actually developed a minor like anxiety over needles when it comes to like going into the vein, like here. And I looked up what happened, like the punishment from Nazis to anybody who's a part of like a commando unit, anybody who's trying to like infiltrate or like go behind enemy lines, was basically they could torture them. They could do whatever they want to them as POWs. And one of the torture methods they did to British soldiers who were trying to liberate Norway under Nazi rule was they basically like hold them down, and some like doctors would put needles into their veins, and they'd blow air bubbles, like air, into their veins and shit. So
Ah,
basically, their veins are just like filling up with air and just fucking blowing up. I imagine, just like I'm just like, oh my god, but like, so it's like
it sounds miserable.
we. It sounds miserable, and it's like I think about that, but then at the same time, though, I also think about how like bad ancient people also got creative too. Like you just go on Google and you just Google like the 10 worst torture methods, and there's like them putting him inside oak trees, floating him on a river, and like lathering them with like honey or something like that, and just
Yeah,
letting
I forget what the
insects.
actual name for that is, but that's probably one of the worst ways to die that I can imagine.
Yeah, hung, drawn, and quartered, like William Wallace of Scotland. He got hung, drawn, and quarters, so you just have all your fucking guts ripped out, and then while you're still alive, they cut off your junk. They throw it in the fire. So while you're still alive and you can still smell, you just smell your own like dick and balls just getting burnt in a fucking fire, and like you just smell that. It's the last thing you smell is your own genitals and your guts burning in a fire. So I mean,
It's
oh,
a good thing that we don't care about monetization.
you know what? I think I'm gonna switch my answer because like though, damn,
Oh, now you're
because
going
though
on
I think
us.
I'd want, I think I'd want to be in an ancient battle rather than a modern battle, but the brutality, um, was worse just because of the shit they, because like a bullet to the head, you're coming over the trench, like you just barely like are getting out of the trench, like all right, we're gonna go charge. There's just some machine gunner on the other end, like you imagine trench warfare, you're gonna get fucking shot somewhere, and then it's like when you really think about that, it's not really as like terrifying. It's like, oh, you just shot. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like a fucking piece of lead's in you, and it either hit somewhere bad or it didn't, like, and you're just gonna hemorrhage, I mean, you might just bleed and get cold, go cold. You just start to feel cold, and then you can't see, and then bam, you're dead. But like, you're trying to fight and you're exhausted. Like the feeling of anybody who's ever wrestled that you have or done martial arts, like, you know what I mean? It's like there's something scary when like you're exhausted and you're breathing hard and somebody's laying on top of you and they're suffocating you, and like you're trying to wrestle and like get an advantage, but you feel really exhausted and you start to feel scared almost because you're like, holy shit, I can't breathe. Like he's sitting on me, like he's sitting his own body on my chest. My lungs can't like expand and breathe. So now imagine that, but then imagine like a guy who's on top of you trying to press like a fucking knife into you, and then you're just like trying to hold it up, but he's got the gravity advantage. So then like you just slowly see a fucking blade coming down, and like if you have chainmail, it's great, but he's gonna find some fucking crevice he can get it into. Like he's fighting you really dirtily. Not to mention if it's muddy, because Europe can be a really muddy place and rainy place. So imagine like he's trying to press your head with like your helmet, and like you just see mud and like water leaking in. You start suffocating. Like, it's like, yeah, it is pretty gruesome. So I guess it's all about what side you're on when the brutality's happening.
The losing side.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I switched to your side on that matter. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
We can probably go ahead and end the episode.
Cool. Okay. So
Yeah, we went a
very
little over
good.
an hour and a half.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And okay.
I mean, we could stay on a
So
call or get back on a call after a while. But as far as the actual podcast episode goes, I think,
yeah, that should be good for the episode. Yeah, I'll still be good for the call. So all right. I guess I'll do the outro.
yep, I think that's fair considering I'm recording and editing.
Yes. Very fair. I just gotta. All I have to do is talk. Lucky me. All right. Well, all right, everybody. So that's gonna conclude our very first episode, as long as everything goes well. And yeah, for anybody who does listening to this, anybody who watches it on YouTube, we definitely want to give a big thank you to listening to it because at the end of the day, we just kind of want to help and really just provide some really enlightening moments for people, insightful moments, have a good time while doing it. So, um, I guess without further ado, from the Teutonic Tangents, we'd like to wish you a very Guten Tag and be well, everyone.